Welcome back to Bullet Catcher Gaming. This is of course Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Thank you everybody for subscribing recently, all of our new subscribers, that is, anyone who comments. We really appreciate you, the community in general. We love Ghost Recon obviously, but thank you so much, honestly, we really do appreciate it. Hope everyone's having a happier new year. Last year was a bit of a washout. Obviously we're getting a live event very soon for Breakpoint. Everyone's desperate for some new content, so we thought we would have a look at what we feel should go into the game to maybe improve it and get it to where it really is the kind of finished article. Now, a few of the changes are going to be a bit more in depth, so if they were to be implemented into the game, it would probably take some more time and requirements, as opposed to a lot of smaller ones which I think would make the community overall quite happy. This was a conversation that we have had numerous times on our Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord, the link is on the front of the channel. If you just go and click on that and join, some really friendly people over there. We have a photo competition that's going to be coming up soon, and also if you would like to see any of your videos, we're looking for some kind of cool badass stealth moments, any kind of silly stuff, any weird glitches you find, or any silly moments, we'd like to see those too. You can upload your video footage to us, and we'll credit you and use it in a future video down the line. So anyway, yeah, the link's on the front of the channel. Let's get into this then. Let's start with the thing that I believe that obviously everybody wants the most. Now, if you want to comment down below, that would be great. If you've got any further suggestions, what I'd quite like to do is, show this video to Ubisoft themselves. Obviously, we're in Delta Company. I will show them the video, and the more support and comments we get, or if people, saying that they like this idea, they want that, hope they do listen. We know that they look on the forums and things like that, so hopefully they will pay attention. So I think one of the things that comes up over and over and over again, comments on YouTube, more than anything, and on the Discord, is Mower Island year 2. So everyone wants to know if we want a year 2. Obviously we do want a year 2. Year 2 I think would be the thing that a lot of people would rejoice about. Now, we'd presume if we do get a year 2, this would include similar to year 1, where it's kind of broken down into different chapters across every few months or something, that we get different missions. Maybe there'd be more live events, or maybe they would keep it more structured, mission based structured. Whatever it is, we want more of it. I think people would like to see a similar to kind of Wildlands Ghost mode. Maybe that could be added in year 2. And we have had a few people that said they'd like a kind of survival wave-based mode that is obviously was also in Wildlands. That could be interesting. But I like that. I like the idea of having that kind of one life. It really would be a challenge. I'm not sure they would include the raid within that, but they might. That really would make it a challenge. So you've just got that one life, the permadeath. Lots of people have said they would like to see that, but Mower Island, hopefully that we are going to get that. Everyone wants it open, and lots of people have said that we don't really have much desert in the game, so they'd like to see desert, more that kind of desert arid kind of thing included. Now, maybe that's where Mower Island could be more deserty. I'm hoping that obviously their plans are to open up Mower Island, give us missions there and objectives and things like that. So I think that's quite a nice idea. Definitely we want that, and also it's a big chunk of land, which means there's lots of opportunities for new things, little Easter eggs and little things to find, and hopefully lots of new weapon cases and things like that. And that's what we all want. Everyone wants more weapons, we know that. Everyone wants more camos, definitely. It's got to be one of the most asked for things going. Some people would still like the cobbling, because there are people that don't like playing the raid. So maybe an idea would be to put the cobbling in the store, but change it, do a different variant of the cobbling, like a cobbling scout or something, so it wouldn't feel like anyone who's done the raid and is not losing out on what they had. But something that I would like to add is enemy patrol boats. I think there's a lot of water on, obviously, around the island of Aroa. and it's not really utilised considering there's so much water there. You have access to these boats. Why are there no enemy patrol boats? Patrol boats even. I think that would make it really interesting. Armed, but you could have smaller scout boats, big, heavier armoured boats. I'd really like to see that. I think it would make the water another dynamic into the kind of game overall. Yeah, so we're all up for that. We all want more missions, things like that, and I definitely want patrol boats. So another thing, what about a new class? If you look at the classes we've already got, overall, there's not much kind of aimed around, being a kind of like an LMG, like a support role. So maybe they could do something, a class based around an LMG. You could kind of have the rewards or something like that based around maybe armor piercing rounds or something like that, or you get heavy armor, or possibly that you can carry a lot more ammunition. There's loads of different kind of variations, but lots of people have said that they would like to see that. Also, your drone that you've got, you could utilize your drone a lot more. I mean, I know that people have said about adding sounds to the drone so you could use it as distraction, or having the EMP back on the drone, like you did in Wildlands. I'd like to see that personally. So AI teammate options, for example, that they could work on. What about if AI teammates could drive vehicles while you sit in the passenger seat or on the gunner's position? If you could click on a waypoint and they drive you there, so you don't necessarily have to drive the vehicle if you don't want to. I think that could be a really, really interesting way of using your AI teammates. Obviously having more orders for them, or being able to order them individually to say where you want them to go. So, you want Fury up here, Vasily over here, whatever. They haven't all got to necessarily go to the same place. I think that's quite a good one. So people have mentioned about the wolves, about the fact that they would like to see wolves kind of chase you down a little bit more, be a bit more kind of full on. Kind of like maybe in Wildlands, maybe kind of halfway between what we had in Wildlands with Unidad, with the alert level. Sometimes that did get quite full on, but it was quite fun. But when the alert level was at the highest, at some of the bigger bases in Wildlands, it was quite hard work. But maybe they could come up with an option to kind of do it halfway, where the wolves chase you down a lot more than they currently do. Yeah, that's another interesting one. But or how about this? Colours of your camo. I mean, if you think about it now, all the different camo options that we've got, they don't actually make any difference whatsoever. So if you wore a snow camo in a forest, it doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. It's just there for cosmetic. How about we had, if you wore snow camo in the snow, the alert presence of the enemies was actually dropped, so they couldn't see you so well. Or if you were wearing more urban camo nearer buildings or something like that, I think that could be a really interesting way of utilizing the camos that you've got for the environments that you're in. Lots of people have said they'd like to see the kind of cloaking outfit back from Wildlands. Could be interesting. I don't know whether it would be too overpowered. I don't think you'd be able to include it in Ghost War. I think that would be very unfair. But if you did have it, I mean, you could even have a class built around it perhaps, but I think first of all, if you are going to have it, you've got to make it work better than you did in Wildlands, because in Wildlands it just didn't work. The alert level was exactly the same as whether you were wearing it or not. So if you are going to do it, they do need to kind of implement it properly, I think. But there's some of the kind of main ones. So let's have a look at some of the kind of other ones, the smaller ones, the things that keep coming up over and over and over and over again. That people would like to see put within the game. So we've got like functional bipods, for example. That one, I see that quite a lot. Every now and again, it pops up over and over again. Being able to change the reticle in your scope. You can kind of do it on Call of Duty or games like that, where you go in and obviously you can change the reticle. That would be quite nice. People have mentioned that they would like the classic flight controls with a fixed crosshair for the weapons. That's quite interesting. A lot of people do like the classic flight controls. So what about going back to AI teammates? If we could see their lasers, I mean, really, when you put your MVGs on and things like that, you should be able to see their lasers, and you can't, and it's quite frustrating because it does take a little bit of immersion away from it. That would be quite nice. IR beacons on helmets and plate carriers. Obviously adding another part of realism to it, you know, like letting off the kind of strobe beacon that they would have to be able to identify where your teammates are, as opposed to maybe the blue triangle that you currently have on the map now. What about more operator kind of looking plate carriers and chest rigs? Definitely, that's a really important one, I think. We definitely need more variants for cosmetics. I know I said it at the beginning. It's something that I still think is hugely lacking. You know, even give us everything that was in Wildlands, because there's some great bits of kit in Wildlands that are just not here on Breakpoint. Helicopters, people have mentioned the UH-1 Huey, the UH-60 and the H-860 Pavehawk. They'd be nice additions. It'd be nice to have some new vehicles, maybe even some new ground vehicles as well. Now here's one that lots of people have mentioned, and this comes up again and again. Instead of being able to have 4 people teams, what about 6 people teams? That would be epic. A lot of us would like that. I'd certainly help on my channel 100%. I'd really like to see 6-man teams. All attachments for all weapons. You know, obvious reasons. Why not? You know, if you have an RIS on a weapon, you should really be able to swap pretty much anything with whatever you want. That, I really think that has to happen, and stop kind of locking different things to different weapons. I don't like that. Deployable flares from helos. You know, maybe make them reload slower than the SAM launcher to kind of make it fair. Chem lights, smoke grenades, they come up over and over again. The hand flares again. Flashlights on your weapons. That is something that comes up continuously. That would really add some excellent immersion into the game. Enemy AI, their detection is affected by nighttime, because at the moment it isn't. You could even give them, enemy soldiers or even just the wolves, NVGs, so theirs is then heightened by dark at night time, whereas soldiers without them are not. So, you know, maybe the different helmets, things like that. IOTV vests, I know they would really make your character kind of stand out. Some MVGs from Wildlands. We definitely need gas mask with helmets, 100%, that needs to be there. A reload animation to include the grenade launcher animation as well. Definitely think that. Modify ammunition, so maybe include tracer, armor, piercing rounds, things like that. Magazine customization, so you could, you know, choose between like P mags or metal mags, things like that. So many different weapon options that we'd like to see in the game, like M16s, M27s, the M110, M249, things like that. ACR, the Glock 18 or 19. We could add things like canted sights, weapons like the FGM 148 Javelin, rappelling up buildings, up of cliffs. People have been talking about that for ages. You know, that would be epic if you could rappel out of your helicopter, things like that. Maybe some AI versus AI battles. That would be really interesting. You know, being able to breach doors, improve some of the factions in the game, have maybe more factions in the game. Ghillie hoods. Everyone wants ghillie hoods. This has been asked for over and over and over again. You know, belt options to include kind of on-off options to be able to make your weapons louder if you added them into the kind of ghost experience. More gun wraps. More AI dialogue for teammates, Alice kits, you know, from the US military, kind of 1980-90 kind of circa. C79 and the Micro T2 optics, maybe add MGs on vehicles instead of the M134. You could have enemies take injuries, things like that, give them more interesting looking enemies, then give them different camos, things like that. There's so many different options. Please let us know what you think of all those ideas, whether you've got lots more, and we will pass those on. Thank you so much for watching. So many interesting ideas here. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.